Hello, I'm Kurt Penrose Star. I'm from Gawler. I'm 17 years old. First got into cars from my brother when I was a real young fella. He used to take me to drift events or car shows in general. He always had me working his cars with him. He's owned back then he had some Commodores and stuff, and that's what I was like when I was a little fella. Then as he was growing up, he started getting into drifting, and I was there with him, all these drift events, so I'd always get up early, go to them all with him. I loved it all, and he eventually stopped drifting, but my passion for drifting continued. I'd stay up like every night watching videos on YouTube, people drift. I love it. And even cars in general, I just spend hours watching people in their cars. And I always wanted a drift car. When I was starting to come to 14, my parents always told me, they'll get me driving as soon as I can. I did some searching. I found JDMX Park on Facebook, got in contact with the owner, and said I could hire the car at 14. When I found that out, I was over the moon. Old man jumped on it straight away. We loved it. It was an awesome day, one of the best days ever, I reckon. Spent the whole day drifting, and it was pretty crazy. Then from there, me and Dad were pretty keen on getting me a drift car, and well, we haven't got any cars at all, so we didn't know much about cars ourselves between me and Dad, and we were keen on drifting, and we started looking, and I started saving. Eventually we came across my drift car, my 31 Skyline, and yeah, it's evolved over time, but it's been a good car. I was just before my 15th birthday, and I had a bit of money saved up from when I was 14, and old man was going to match whatever I had, which was awesome. So we were looking and came across my 31 Skyline, and at the time, it was pretty well stock, had an RB20 in it, like a turbo. We did buy it off good faith. It had a blown clutch on it, and we had trust in the owner saying that everything else was all right. We weren't too sure at the time. It was a bit of a risky move we took, but we took it. We were too keen, and we put the clutch in it, and we found a gearbox was stuffed, and then we're not happy at that stage. So we ended up getting another gearbox and started to sort out. My 15th birthday was the first time I ever drove this car, and it did alright. It used to look, it never had bumpers, it was just open. It was actually really straight back then. It's gotten a lot rougher over time, but it was bone stock RB20, had S13, just stock S13 front suspension, so it did handle pretty nicely, had a little bit of lock. I had these white wheels. I have no idea what they were, but they looked hideous. They didn't last long. And sort of did my first drift event, and it went pretty well, and I was pretty happy with the car. I liked it. Did a few more, eventually got gold wheels, because I was gold wheels and lowered it as low as I could go, which was a bad idea, but hey, you do what you want to do, I suppose. And it was on 14-inch wheels, so it was slammed. And we started having problems with the car a fair few months on, like coil pack, ignitions, but we always had ignition problems with the car. Kind of just patched it up to go. Eventually blew the gearbox up with my RB20 motor, and I put a 25 box in it. I blew the diff up at Matalar, and then they're sorted, and we didn't have many dramas after that for a few months. Then we blew the RB20 up, and it's kind of a good thing because the engine swap in it wasn't very nice. So the wiring was terrible, and I had a few people advise me to go no RB25, so I bit the bullet and thought I'd try the swapper. It had 25 box, and I did my motor swap, and that turned out pretty good. We ripped all the wiring out of the car and started from scratch. It's a big job, but it was well worth it, and we loved it. And then we kept it stock for probably a couple events. Drove one event, and I was like, I got more power, I need more lock. So I went for the P-knuckle setup, can't shut S13 knuckles, extended lock control arms, tie rod, rack spacers, and it steers awesomely now. I absolutely love how the car feels. It had good steering. Car was with the RB25, new wiring, didn't have any problems. It was a Series 2, so we got rid of an igniter, and it was just a lot better until I blew the head gasket. And then from there, we went for a molded layer metal head gasket and did ARP studs. That didn't take us too long. We put it back together and discovered the car had a pretty nasty tick. And after that event, we spent a long time trying to figure out what the tick was. we actually came across a few sponsors, which we're really fortunate to get. And with that money, we did some upgrades to the car. We got it running on an E85 now, tuned, and it was making 244 kilowatts at the wheels, which we were pretty happy with. It's got a Lenk ECU, Spitfire coil packs, a Raceworks fuel system, all the good stuff. It's awesome. Along the time frame, we did get the cage in it just because stuff was starting to get a bit more full on, and I got all the parts in it. I went to go get it tuned because I had the ticking problem. I thought it was lifters, so I replaced, but I thought it was wrong. I took it to go get it tuned, and because we put a new Lenk ECU in it, different fuel system, we couldn't start it because he changed everything, so we didn't know if he fixed it. We sent it to a shop, to Garage 7, went to get it tuned, and they said they couldn't tune it. It was ticking off its head, probably worse than it was before, so that was a bit of annoying. And then we bring it home, and it took us a while to figure it out. Eventually still was lifters, but we just took us a while to find ones that would work. And once we got it working, we took it to Garage 7, got it tuned. They told us it was having a bit of a blow by. Made 244 kilowatts, but did it in an event and it felt so quick. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. And it's since then, it's been awesome. It does blow a bit of oil, but RV life, I suppose. So I've competed in the SA Summer Series. I think I've done 3 rounds now. I did one when it was an RB20, and I blew my diff when it was a 31 of an RB20 in the Summer Series. I blew the diff up, so I didn't do much in there. And then round 2, that was an awesome round. And that was with the car with a stock RB25 in it. And then I did round 3 with the RB25 as it sits now, and that was awesome. I also did Drift Masters when it was a stock 25, and that's when I had bad ticking problems after the head gasket. And then Drift Masters, that was a fun event, but car wasn't really playing the goal. And I've done countless amount of times of X Park days. I love JDM X Park, always here. I've done a few practices, and yeah, I love to drive, try and drive as many weekends as I can possible. Probably my favourite event I've ever done is Bayside, Matsuri. It was such a chilled out environment. It was just amazing. The whole street style drifting, it was crazy, and drifting, you got the OST side, there's nothing was like it. I think I went through 14 tyres, 14 brand newies, and that was just, oh, I loved it. It was awesome. So the 31's kind of where it is now, and I've been trying to drive it to the best of my ability, and me and my old man are pretty keen on trying to move stuff further on. And we've just picked up Anthony Cece's old S14. Not much left to it now, but we plan on putting my drive line from this into the new S14. We're going to do the same thing in the front, P-knuckle setup. We're not too sure what sort of suspension we're going to run under it yet or what the plans are, but we plan on sort of most of just the drive line of this car in the S14, do as many events we can in the S14, and probably try out a few more competitions with the new chassis. We're going to aim to sort of have the chassis done by mid next year, is sort of our goal, and we think we're going to start pulling the 31 apart pretty soon. So this is probably one of the last events you'll see the old girl. I'm hugely thankful to all the drivers that have helped me with my driving and car setup all through drifting. All the bigger drivers have been awesome help to me about setting up my car and even improving my driving. I've been fortunate enough to get a few sponsors, and I couldn't thank them enough for helping me out and getting me where I am and getting the car where it is. It's been an awesome adventure, and I can't wait to see what the future withholds with future sponsors and current sponsors. Biggest thank you to my old man. He's been with me every step of the way since my 15th birthday to now. He loves it. He's been to every event with me. He's done everything with the car. Everything I've done, he's done. He's been awesome help. Thanks, old boy.